Let me fix this first. Um, Hi, I'm going to go through my picks and the card and everything that happened. I'll try to be as swift as possible. I'm sure some of you are asking yourself, why have I placed the MMA Guru's percentage? It's largely because I want to give you guys an idea of how much work I do on the channel, because I feel like a lot of people like to complain a lot about a lot of things on the channel. So I'm trying to make sure that I give you a comparison as to how good the channel is in terms of prediction, because the MMA Guru is one of the few people on YouTube that I feel like is close to my prediction accuracy. In the beginning, I used to be significantly better than my subscribers, but lately my subscribers have been on point, and congrats. It pushes me to try and improve and be better at predicting, right? So let's get to it. This was an incredible card, man. This was a very, 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 very incredible card. Um, okay, let's go to the fight. Hardy versus Hoth. It's crazy. On the feet, I thought Hoth would have the advantage, and on the ground, I thought Hardy would have or rather, Hardy would be better, and it was vice versa. Hardy looked good. She clearly improved. She clearly improved. I didn't see that coming. But obviously, after marrying Dan Hardy, I'm sure like I should have expected that. Hearth needs to improve or go back to bantamweight, because number one, she looked slow and she looked awkward. I don't even understand why she didn't try to wrestle from the beginning, because clearly that's where she had the most amount of advantage. But nonetheless, my subscribers and the MMA Guru got this one right. Unfortunately, I went with Hoth. Um, On to the next one. Terman versus Gooden. Um, in my breakdowns, I actually said Gooden would have the knockout power. I also said that on the ground, I would give the edge to Gooden, and he submitted Terman. Of course, it was because of a knockdown, but wow, good fight. I picked Gooden. My subscribers and the MMA Guru picked Terman. Maybe I should try and do these a bit later on in the day, because it seems like that's when a lot of people are available, but it's fine. You guys can watch it later. On to the next one. Bellato versus Potieria. Once again, in my predictions, I said Potieria would have more power and had the highest possibility of knocking out Bellato out. But on the other hand, I said Bellato has more ways to win, and everything I said in my breakdowns happened. Bellato was being beaten down, but damn, the guy has a chin. One of the best fights I have ever seen in a long time, one of the best comebacks ever. This is why referees should not stop fights until someone covers up or is out, because if it was any other referee, I think Bellato would have lost due to an early stoppage. But because the referee allowed him to fight back, he turned things around and won. My subscribers, the MMA Guru, and I picked Bellato. And this particular fight is very important for later on when we speak about the Bobby Green fight. On to the next one, Soleki versus Klaus. I think Soleki would have won that fight if he had just let go of that armbar. It was stupid for him to hold on to that, knowing that his head will be the first thing that hits the ground. Um, Knowing that his head will be the first thing that hits the ground. I don't know why people just like don't think about this particular thing. It's like when Hamza was fighting Kamaru Usman. When Kamaru tried to slam Hamza, Hamza didn't just hold on to Kamaru Usman. He let go and tried to block with his hand, and that's what subsequently caused the fracture or whatever the issue is with Hamza's hand. That's what caused it, because Hamza actually tried to block or to decrease the impact by using his hand. So these people don't have that. I don't know where the fight IQ is there. When someone is able to lift you, it means they're not in pain. So what are you doing? So for me, it looks stupid, but what can I say? Um, my subscribers, the MMA Guru, and I went with. Oh no! On this one, I got this one wrong. My subscribers and the MMA Guru were correct on this one. I actually picked Seleki. The MMA Guru and my subscribers went with Klaus. On to the next one, Reese versus Brandage. I'm actually upset. I'm actually upset that Brandage won, and also because I didn't listen to my prediction strategy. Because my prediction strategy told me, and if you watched my breakdowns, I remember saying it that on paper, Brandage is the better fighter. But I also said that after his last performance, you would put a bucket in front of Brandage and I wouldn't pick him. So I allowed my personal feelings to influence who I pick, and which is why I created a strategy, which is why I created a system, which is why I created a criteria in order to avoid my emotions influencing who I pick. But in this particular fight, I allowed my emotions to influence me into picking Reese as opposed to Brandage. Because on paper, I think if you watch my breakdown, you remember me saying, on paper, Brandage is the better fighter. But I just didn't want to see a world whereby Brandage won that fight. And I don't know how the fight would have went, but I can admit to the fact that even without the slam, Brandage looked good, which sucked because I didn't like Brandage, but I'm willing to admit that the guy tried. Like, he improved a little bit from his last fight. My subscribers were smart enough to see this one, and they actually picked the Brandage. I went with Reese. The MMA Guru also picked Reese. I was upset with this one. But on to the next one, Tate versus Avila. Um, this fight was very surprising, because when you look at Misha Tate's last fight, you wouldn't assume that she would come back and look like that, because that was a complete 360. In her last fight, she looked very slow, like there was nothing good about what she was doing in her last fight. In this fight, she looks like she can make a title run. It looks like older fighters. Hi, Immortal. This is my first time seeing you, Immortal. Welcome. I hope to see you more often in the future. So I thought Tate would actually lose this fight, but she came in and she looked like the champion she was, and she did what she was supposed to do, and I'm excited about her future. Um, it's crazy because these fighters seem to be improving. In the past, my pleasure. In the past, a lot of fighters, the cutoff age was like 35 years old. But now it seems like we are seeing, for example, Clay Guida is 41 years old and he was performing really well at that age. Misha Tate is performing exceptionally well. Like, there are a couple of fighters that are going beyond the age of 35, because in the past, 35 was like the cutoff age. We knew that once you hit 35, you start to decline. But you know what? Congrats to her. My subscribers and I got this one wrong. The MMA Guru actually got it correct. He picked Tate, and then we picked Avila, and we already know he lost. She lost, I mean. On to the next one. Soriano versus Dustin. Um, This is crazy because one, I feel like Dustin wasn't throwing that much. It feels like he was waiting for a power shot for some reason. I don't know why the guy was not wrestling as much as he should have been wrestling. Or rather, I don't know why he wasn't as active. He wasn't throwing enough. And because he wasn't throwing enough, he was giving Dustin no confidence and opportunities to actually become offensive. And I think that's essentially why he lost. Um, but kudos to Dustin. He looked improved. He looked good. I'm not going to take away from that by blaming Soriano because Dustin actually looked improved. He looked aggressive. He looked better than I've ever seen him. Before his performances were forgettable, but recently they've been quite impressive. So on this one, I think everyone got it wrong. Myself, my subscribers, the MMA guru, we got this one wrong. I don't think anyone would have seen this one coming. On to the next one, Guida versus Silva. In my opinion, I thought Silva would run through Guida. I honestly thought it wouldn't even be competitive, but man, Guida at the age of 41, that guy looked extremely fast. His chin was incredible because the guy was being beaten up. Like the guy was being beaten up horribly and he still survived. Usually when someone grows older, their ability to take punches decreases, but the guy is clearly different, and I still feel like he has a couple of fights in him to get to that point with a young fighter and a powerful fighter like Silva. Is impressive. But on the other hand, if you can struggle like that against an older fighter like Guida, then it means Silva needs to do some work if he wants to get into the rankings, because I don't know if he's going to make it with that particular performance. Um, my subscribers, the MMA Guru, and I, we got this one correct. We picked Silva to win. On to the next one, Brady versus Gastelum. I called this one. I was proud of myself. When I saw this fight, I was like, I told them. And I actually, this is one of the fights that I spent a lot of time explaining why I feel like Brady will have the advantage in this fight. All the fights that I was breaking down in my previous breakdown for this particular card, I think I went through a lot of the fights really quickly. But when I got to this one case and I explained why I think Brady's going to win, and I'm glad that he actually came through and he dominated the way I knew he could dominate. Because people were acting like losing to Bilal was a horrible thing. And I mean, Bilal has the second highest streak in the division, dude. Like, it's crazy that people thought Brady was nothing because he lost to Bilal. I mean, Burns lost to Bilal, dog. Vicente Luque lost to Bilal. So it's not a bad loss. Like, Bilal is a championship contender currently. So I don't know why people watch it. And on the other hand, Calvin was busy losing fights at 185. It was crazy to me for people to think that this guy is going to win. And I'm glad Brady actually came through and showed us why he is who he is, because he only lost one fight. Calvin was busy losing a lot of fights at middleweight. But yeah, the MMA Guru and my subscribers got this one wrong. So I felt really good about this one, but I would have felt better if my prediction accuracy was a lot higher. I've never been this wrong. 58% is not bad, but it's horrible by my standards, because on a bad night, on a bad week, I get like 70%, 70 something percent. That's what I call bad. But to get to 58 is not something I would celebrate. But this particular fight, I'm proud of myself for predicting. Um, so on to the next one, Font versus Figueiredo. I loved the fact that Figueiredo respected Font, because the Brady fight and this particular fight, the Figueiredo fight, it actually scared me because I know how good and how tough Font is. So I love the approach of Figueiredo, because he avoided danger by being measured and by being calm. Because I feel like if he had rushed things, Font would have finished him. Figueiredo looked incredible. I hope he pushes himself to get the title picture by the end of next year because he's 35 and I don't know how he's going to perform at lower divisions as he gets older. Obviously we've seen with Guida. Guida has been performing really well, even though he is at lightweight. I think he's been performing well, but obviously that does not apply to everyone. But yeah, I hope Figueiredo tries to push for a title fight because I think he has a decent chance of actually becoming a champion at bantamweight. Um, On to the next one. I picked my subscribers and I picked Figueiredo. The MMA guru picked Rob Font. On to the next one. Turner versus Green, the Bellator fight. A lot of people in the MMA community like to come early stoppages or, oh my God, he shouldn't have interfered, it was too soon. And then when referees actually give fighters an opportunity to actually defend themselves, to actually come back, all of a sudden they are horrible referees. Like people need to decide like by this argument, if you are going to say the referee was horrible on this particular fight, then you shouldn't be celebrating what the referee did in the Bellator fight. So you can't call a referee horrible because Bobby Green was knocked out, but at the same time say the referee in the Bellator fight was doing the right thing. Because Bellator looked horrible. Like that fight could have been stopped and it would have been acceptable. So I think people should be a little bit more lenient on this particular referee because I feel like he did an exceptional job. Um, yeah, my subscribers, the MMA Guru, and I picked Turner. Um, Turner looked incredible. If this Turner showed up in, who do you call it? He would have beaten. This is the Turner that showed up today. That was brutal. I can honestly say that. And I get that it's a little bit different because Green was covering up. So I understand. But people shouldn't be too hard on this referee because when fights are stopped too early, people cry, they complain, and they do all these other things. On to the next one, Dariush versus Tsarukyan. Another crazy one. This card was incredible, man. Um, I remember in my breakdowns, I was busy saying Tsarukyan shouldn't try to strike with Dariush. And then Tsarukyan goes out and knocks out Dariush. Not even Charles Oliveira was able to do it this quickly. It was brutal, it was quick, and it was decisive. I predicted it. I knew that he would actually be significantly good. I just didn't think he would be that good, especially on the feet. Um, I mean, it sucks for Dariush because he went on a streak, and in that division, in the lightweight division, champions like to hold up the division for some reason. I feel like Islam has been trying to be active, but it's crazy to think who's the Tony Ferguson could go on such long streaks, but at least Tony Ferguson's star power is prioritized in this day and age. Yeah, my subscribers and I and the MMA Guru picked Tsarukyan to win this fight. Um, I'm going to introduce, or rather, I've introduced to win those fights. Like it's who was better this whole year, from coaches to fighters to all these type of things. So I need you guys to go to the community section and share the post and nominate who you feel like should win. Because I'm doing this, I want to introduce this thing of subscribers actually picking who they think is the best fighter for 2023, who they think is the best, who had the best submission and all those type of things. So go vote, go nominate, and that voting will come later. Share the post and yeah, let's make it big. I appreciate everyone who logged in. Um, yeah, I'm about to leave. Go to the community section, guys. It's really important. I need you guys to nominate who you think should be voted for. Like who had the best knockout, submission, fight of the year.